Hey, happy Friday. Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. I don't know if you paid attention or not, or even if you noticed. I have not posted in a couple of weeks. I went on vacation. Yeah, I went on vacation. To spend some time with me. With me, I always spend time with God. God is always with me. But this is to spend some time with me and the people that nurture my soul, family and love. And so, but I'm back. And we're still in our series, Walking Miles, or Walking the Miles, and Walking the Miles of Life. And so today or this evening, we're going to talk about, do you count the cost? You know, do you count the cost of doing something? We know in Scripture, right? And we're just going to go straight to Scripture right quick. Luke chapter 14, verse 28 to 30. This is the English Standard Version. It says, "For which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, 'This man began to build and was not able to finish.'" And so we know that Jesus was saying, listen, if you're going to do something, be committed. Count the cost, count what it's going to cost you up front. Whether it's in resources, whether it's in time, whether it's in blood, sweat, or tears, count it in the beginning so you will be committed to finishing it. You won't get in the middle of it and lose resources, lose hope, lose time, and then you don't complete it. So, we're instructed to count the cost, and that's important. So if you count the cost, then great. But I'm going to add another layer to that, because I also believe we need to understand the value of what we're doing, or measure the value, or count the value, however way you want it. So I want to give you three perspectives, right? When you're either producing a service or product, there's the price, what it's going to, what someone will pay for your product and services. That's the price, what they are willing to pay. The cost is what your product or service cost you to produce it, what it cost you to build it or design it. What was the monetary, what did it cost you? And then the value, right, is how much folks will be able to use it, how much you will use it, who will benefit from it. That's the value. See, the value can far outweigh the cost. Even though the cost may be great or the cost may be small, the value can far outweigh, because it is going to measure how many people can benefit from it, how many people can use it. And so when I think about that, I even think about, my vacation. I took a vacation and it was costly. But the value to me, how much I'm going to be able to use it is much greater. How it gave me some peace, and how it freed me up, and how it, allowed me to rest and enjoy. The value was much greater than the cost. And so another way I want you to look at that is Jesus. If Jesus had decided that, if he had just counted the cost, right? He could have said maybe not, or maybe I will, or maybe I won't. But Jesus also counted the value. Who was going to be able to benefit from what he was doing? Who was going to benefit from salvation? Who was going to benefit from him dying on a cross? Although it was a great cost, it was his life. He went past that and understood the value. How many people's lives were going to be changed? And God, I'm going to tell you, when God forgives us, right? It costs God something to forgive us, you all. It does. I mean, let's be honest. We just want to think God just loves us, and he does. But I'm pretty sure it costs something for God to continue to forgive us over and over again every time we ask, even no matter what we've done. But what God does is look at the value of who will benefit from his forgiveness. How many people will utilize his forgiveness? The value outweighs the cost. So I want to ask you there, is there some things that you have counted the cost, right? You have clearly counted the cost. But when you look at the cost, you don't do it because you know it's going to cost you a lot of sacrifice. It's going to cost you to be uncomfortable. It's going to cost you some money. It's going to cost you some time. It may even cost you a little heartache. But I'm going to ask you to move past just the cost and count the value. Count how many people will benefit from if you write that book. How many people will use it? Count from how many people will benefit if you start that business. It may cost you something. You're going to incur some cost, but you understand how many people are going to be able to benefit from what you have created and produced. If we think about, Thomas Edison, and I think that's his name, the man who invented electricity. They said the light bulb, he did it, how many times he tried before he could get it? And so it cost him a lot of time, but the value, look at the value. How many of us utilize electricity today? If I want to go another layer, if we think about, I have to say Martin Luther King, because, he just came out of Black History Month. It cost him his life. But he didn't stop at the cost. He knew it was going to cost him in life. He looked at the value. How many people were going to benefit from what he did? So my question to you today is, do you count the cost? And I'm going to say you probably do. That's why a lot of you don't move forward, because you just can't see yourself paying the cost. Maybe it's the cost that you're afraid and you can't move past your fear. But I'm going to ask you to go a little bit deeper and count the value. Because the value is what's going to cause you to go on and do it, to make it happen. There's generations of people that may be on the other side of what you're going to pay. They will value, they will receive. You understand? What Jesus did, the value cannot even be numbered. And sometimes we think because it's nothing grandiose or big that it has no great value, right? You may open up a small store, right? And it may not be a big ticket store or whatever, but it could be in a small a community where there's a food desert, and it may only have a few aisles, but it's where people who can't get to food can get to food at an affordable price. It's the value of what it'll bring. So, do you count the cost? I wasn't asking you that because you do or you don't. I mean, you should. I was asking you because I wanted to take you to the next level and to do as we see God and Christ and so many others doing, who has changed and impacted our world. They counted the value. Much love, Keita.